All right, welcome back. You are still live on U24 television or broadcasting here at our home at Nile Avenue, Nakasero Hill, UBC headquarters. But guess what? You are on U24 television. And if you're just joining us, I'm afraid you've missed the very first insightful segment where we are learning a lot. I'm telling you, if you are a youth and you have youths that are not on TV, call them up and tell them that the desk is live and they should actually get on their TV. The man in the chair, Dr. Christopher Rwanga, we're going to be having a conversation why, the youth investment atmosphere, is not as conducive. We open up these businesses and our businesses, boutiques, chicken, these businesses close 6 months down the road, 5 months down the road. And we just want to get an elder's mind. What aren't we doing better? Is government the problem or are we the problem? Many thanks for joining us, Doctor.
Is it good morning, good afternoon, listeners and viewers?
It is good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Thanks very much for having hosted me for the first time. And I must apologize that every time you make approaches to me,
you're running.
Yes, I'm running away. Yes. And yet you constitute a very good area.
Yes,
where I must have a direct investment and participation. Having said that, I'm Christopher Rwanga Apollo, as you have already mentioned it, and I'm the head of Ideology, Research and Documentation Department at UPC. Yes. This is the founding political party. You cannot talk about Uganda, yes, and you leave out UPC. Yes. Then at the same time also, I'm the head of UPC Ideology School, which primarily targets the youth, though it can also target other type of people, to try to give them a thinking that whatever you do, it must have a political philosophy. And when you don't have a political philosophy, it is very difficult to succeed, whether at an individual level, at a society level, or at a country level. These countries you are seeing which are sending people to the moon, they have a driving philosophy. We must be there. We must gear our development towards that goal. And they start tapping that brain, which will take them to the moon. Yes. So it requires a lot of thinking, a lot of planning. Right. So our UPC Ideology School does exactly that.
So how do people enroll before you even dive in the conversation?
It is just to come to Uganda House and you enroll, or to send you even a website of UPC Ideology School. Actually, it is like that by website. UPC, you plug in and then more details come. Right. From there, I try to work with the youth. Okay. Then at the same time also, I'm a head patron of the Mulungushi Club. This club used to bring Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia together. And they wanted to see how they can add that value to Africa, how they can add that value to their countries. And all these countries in their times, they developed very, very serious youth programs. So, much as I have said all that, I need to bring you sport to whatever you are saying. Yeah. Yes, Uganda has the youngest population. And as we are speaking, the government, everybody must realize that there is what we call the youth bulge. And this youth bulge, if we are not very careful, we may start experiencing what our neighbors in Kenya are experiencing right now. Yes. Which is not a very good situation. However, where does it start? Okay, for a youth to be ready to do programs, to be successful. Unfortunately, you are much younger than me, okay? And we are belonging to different generations. Yes. But as I have told you, my mind, ever since I started work, I'm working with the youth, though I have aged. The first place where a youth used to get his knowledge, okay, was the old premise at home where elders sit and guide you. And you start learning slowly on the job. Okay? But now, the relationship between the children
And the
and the parents has somehow broken down. Okay? And when it breaks down, there is no core value you inherit. And when you don't inherit such a core value, there is nothing you are going to stand for in life. If your father was a farmer and a successful one, you would want to emulate that.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
If your father was a medical doctor, you would like to emulate that.
Actually, we used to see it days past.
Yes. Now what has happened, that connectivity has been eroded. However, we should not cry for spoiled milk. We should see how we can regain it. And the best weapon which can shape the youth is what they call the education system. And the education system, if it is to help us to shape the youth, is to be very serious with it. If it is a pre-nursery school, have you taken there that youth at the right age? Because the right age would mean 5 years.
Not 4 years?
No, it would mean 5 years.
Actually, doctor, right now we're even, now for us, because we are the new parents now.
Yes.
I'm very busy even at 2.5, I want.
Yes, that is damaging, and I will explain to you how it is damaging. So you would buy time that you take your kid now in primary 1 when that kid is 7 years.
Not 6.
In America, it is a law. You cannot enroll somebody who is underage. But here now we have abused that as a starting point. Okay. And when you abuse it as a starting point, and that person now goes through lower primary, he may become clever, very intelligent, but when he's not mature. Okay? There you are lucky. But that person may even grow and reach P7. As is entering senior 1, the brain is start getting tired because they were overstretched. Okay? And that person tends to have a narrow scope of life because he has not come up in a very orderly fashion. Okay? So most of our youth are suffering from that.
Narrow scope of the entire picture.
Yes. They have not come through a very difficult system. For us, we came through a system which was holistic, which exposed us much. Now, if I can ask you, can you do some weeding in around this place, the entire place, and you plant something and you harvest it? No. You don't have that technology.
No, we don't.
If you don't have that sort of technology, how are you going to endure business? Okay? And there is no simple business.
So we lack the tenacity.
Yes. You lack it. And you can't just acquire it. Okay? So that is one of the areas where we are missing it.
So it's not. So it's not entirely because the youth are going to the street and rioting system. That's why we are failing.
Yeah, they're missing it. They are not understanding it. For us, if you remember, we had even books which had the tables of algebra behind, and you could do manually count, and you could manually add up things. Okay, but today they tell you come with a scientific calculator. Come with what? Much as all that is done, and it is good that it is making the work easier, it does not bring up the African child in the manner that African child must come up with. So there it needs, when there are other intervening measures, you put in. So
doctor, I'm getting your ideology now.
Yes.
That we are not failing because of the external factors we think.
No.
It is rooting from
the way you have been brought up.
There's so much we are lacking.
Yes.
Oh, on that point exactly. Let's go for a break. When we come back,
yes,
now we start to understand that what we thought was the problem may not entirely be accurate. No. Do not go away. I am coming back. still here with Dr. Luanga, who is a planet of knowledge.
Yes.
we are starting now to understand, because there's so much riots going on. You know, we can blame the government all we want.
Yeah.
We can blame, there's so much we are blaming inflation and all these things, why we are not making it in our careers and in our businesses.
Yes.
But you have brought it to our light that maybe there's something that we do not have a comprehensive knowledge of what is going on.
Yes, and that is actually very true. Okay, you did not have that comprehensive knowledge, and because you did not have that comprehensive knowledge and opportunities, where you are brought up in an orderly fashion and you are working hard to succeed. For instance, a majority of us, we are coming from families which were essentially families of peasants, families of farmers.
Yes.
On top of doing the normal domestic work, our parents used it to inspire us and saying, you pick coffee for your pocket money. You pick this for your clothings. You pick this, so you do the family production and you also do the personal production. And when you go to sell and they give you your share, you feel motivated to do the family work and to do the private work.
So this is basic entrepreneurship.
Yes, the basic entrepreneurship we learned at home. Then from there, you will also be given a piece of land where you are free to cultivate anything, and you pick it out or you sell it minus permission from the parents, because it is designated as yours. Okay? Now, such a type of a person with such a type of a spirit is being groomed to succeed.
So it's not just about English and
No. Okay? And when it goes to these other communities, like in northern Uganda, they would even win you from the parents' heart to your own heart.
Now you've matured.
Yes, and they start showing you how life is starting. Okay? Now, by the time you go to a good secondary school, all that experience is what they guide more.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I did my primary at Mugongo Primary and then continued with it at Kako Primary by 1976. 1977 to 1980, I joined Namilyango College. Namilyango College had one of the biggest farms where we are involved.
As students?
Yes, as students. And not necessarily that we are agriculture students, though I was also an agriculture student. But we had that farm. We had so many facilities.
Right now.
Yes.
You will be mistreated.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to tell you. We led a real holistic life. Okay? We had the time for entertainment. Remember, Namilyango had even a real band. And
the brass band.
Yes, we had everything. And we are so much involved in work. Okay? School work, we work in the dormitories. In the dormitories, we never had workers. Okay?
Cleaners.
Yes,
now we have.
We are doing it ourselves. So you can see that if somebody is brought up in that background, it is easier now when he completes school to start work.
In the real world now, yes.
By the time I was in Namilyango, I had even an account at post office in Mukono.
Because of your side.
Yes. Okay. So you find that you are building yourself to a greater future. I reside in Kabuja, that is where our home area is. But wherever parents sent me to the city and they facilitated me with the transport, I just said, transport in my pocket. And I used all the shortcuts
to walk.
Yes. Even to run. Okay? Because we are capable. Then when I started the A-level at Rubidi SS, I was staying with my sister here, Miriam Musini Mukono now, and she could at times give me transport. No, examination season I started here is transport. I say,
put it in the wallet.
Put it in the wallet. Take off. I'm among the first person to reach at school. Then when we knock off, I call my friend, say that we have something to eat. or we go to Nakivuo to watch football out of this money. Okay? I haven't stolen anything. I've instead used my energy. But today, tell me, in this climate we have brought to the youth like you, who can endure, who can think about it in that manner?
To go down there, I need a border for 30,000.
Yes. And for us, that was a walking distance. So, then at the same time also, when we were in the school, we had supportive clubs which teach you hands-on skills. We had the Younger Christian Society, we had the Younger Farmers Society, we had the Writers Club. Nya was the head of History Club. We had a lot of those things. So,
Doctor, I'm getting this, and,
yes.
I'm starting to see where the problem is. The problem is not what we think it is.
No. The problem is how you have been brought up.
So because there's an issue of how we've been brought up, so we can't survive in the real world.
Yes, you can't survive. You have no stamina. You have no endurance. Okay, much as everything is very simple in the computer, that is how you think life is simple. But life cannot be simple like that.
So we're leading a life of TV, of computer, in the real world.
Yes. That is where a big problem is coming.
That's why you hire someone now, a kid, and they only want to work a few hours and they leave.
Yes. Because they have not been brought up in that system where you must endure, where you must work, and where you must understand the cause of working.
Doctor, before we go for a break, who is to blame?
Who is to blame? When I tell you this thing, you may not believe it. But you will have to believe it when you read more and you try to find out. I represent a political party known as Uganda People's Congress. Uganda People's Congress, its founding father, Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, suffered very much when he was a youth. He only did primary at his village and not complete. He had to go to another longer distance to complete primary. He had to go to another longer distance to complete junior. Even at one time, wild animals wanted to eat him.
It was that bad?
Yes, it was that bad. Then he had to proceed to Mwiri to complete. And then continue to Makerere, and school fees were not there. So when our government came into power, it took responsibility that how do we look after the youth such that they can fly on their own, they can flourish on their own. It needed massive investment in education, massive investment in diet, massive investment in anything you feel a youth can use to grow up. And we did not even neglect the mothers. We said anybody pregnant must be looked after, must eat well. And if you watch all the hospitals have even halls where they used it to teach mothers. And then we knew that to bring up this change, it is not easy. So you go to Gombololas, you find the community halls. That was the center now. And that time, it is good you are working at UBC.
Yes.
Radios and televisions were not available in people's homes.
Yes.
So we had to put them at Gombolola in community centers.
So people would gather to work.
Yes, and that is where we would now direct things, you would coordinate things. So we came from a very difficult background.
Yes.
But we said, much as we come from difficult background, let us prepare a better use for the future of Uganda. Okay, for us who joined in Amiriango, we are being taught how to use a flush toilet. Okay, our parents we sent to Europe soon after university. We are teaching them how to use the utensils before they go and in Samiz was the training center. You had to pass through Samiz first. You were taught everything and how you will behave on the table. So we came from a very difficult environment. But it is unfortunate that much as we came from different environment and a difficult one, we have not again bothered to make you work better.
Right.
All move better.
Move better.
All see things better.
Yeah, on that point of how now you, the people who
Yes.
have that experience,
Yes.
can make us, appreciate and then also,
Yes.
move forward better.
Yes.
Let's go for a break. When we come back, we start exactly there.
Yes.
Yes. Do not go away. We're coming back. All right, welcome back. You're still on the continent's leading intellectual platform, actually the highest platform for solution finding. I'm talking about none other than The Desk here on U24 television. And like I said, you can follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Do that for Shadrach Kisame, but do that for U24 television as well. Now we are on our last segment of this very lovely episode of The Desk, where we are with a man that is full of knowledge, and we are blessed tonight to be sharing from that knowledge. Doctor, you come from a very difficult background.
Yes.
And there's a saying that I am starting to believe from you.
Yes.
That before you know where you're coming from, you can never get to know where you're going.
Yes, please.
And I'm seeing you've answered my problem, you've answered my question that I started with.
Yes.
Why the youths are failing to
Yes.
maneuver.
Yes.
It is about how they are brought up.
Yes.
You people that have this background, are you failing to teach us? Are you failing to show us where you came from? Why are we not turning out to be better, yet we are in better times?
I wouldn't like it to be so much political, but at the same time, I have to be political. Why I have to be political is to help you to understand it, okay? I'm an educationist. And if there is no any country in the world which performs better than its education system.
There's no country in the world that performs better than its education system. Okay.
And if you want to know the level of development of any country, you look at the education system.
Really?
Yes. If it is Japan, you look at their education system.
Those guys don't know English.
Yes, but,
so English is not education.
Yes, but they have internalized their work. And they have applied the science, they have applied the technology, they have applied everything. Okay. You look at Britain, it is the same thing. Now, when you start looking at those things, the time when Uganda was putting up a real fight, we came to some technical issues in the education system. That is the ratio of a teacher to pupils. It was usually 1 to 40. And in Namiriango, where I did my O-level, we used it to be about 35, 37, what have you. That is for a class with a compulsory subject. But a non-compulsory subject, it could even drop to 20 to 15. That meant that it gives a teacher an opportunity to communicate with the class.
And know them individually.
Yes. And it gives a teacher to communicate with the class and develop those skills, like skills of comprehension, skills of description, skills of discussion, skills of examination, okay, whatever type of a skill, it can be imparted when you have a reasonable numbers. Now, our brothers who have made a breakthrough, they have shifted from 40. They are about 20 to 25. Some are even aiming to be 15
so
in a
one
class.
Teacher to 15 students.
Yes. And there you can do whatever you want to do with that pupil. Now, bring it to a Ugandan scenario. Even the most powerful schools you are talking about,
100.
the number is 80, 70, 100.
Yes.
So there it means that a teacher is not having ample time to develop the
quality of learning.
Yes.
The quality of
learning. And if you say you follow my advice today and you reduce the number to 40, how many new classrooms or new schools you are going to build? How many new teachers are you going to manufacture when you even closed down teacher training colleges and national training colleges? Then the other element which is very important is the textbook student ratio. It has to be 1 to 1. 1-to-1. And that is how we are. If you want to understand it properly, you bring anybody who is 60 or even 50 or 70 and above, whether it's primary or secondary or university, he will be of a very different make because of what we went through. And to achieve that as a country, you must set it as a priority and you work towards it.
Doctor, you mentioned something that I see in your generation that is different from our generation.
Yes.
You people appreciate reading.
Yes.
Like, you appreciate that, you know, I also met there's also another, like, person I met. And again, they were they were like, no, the problem, Shadrach, you people don't want to read.
Yes, yes.
You appreciate it. Is it because you had the books at your disposal? Was it a culture?
The training. Because they are going to develop you a skill of description, a skill of identification. That skill goes with the subject content, which goes on building from class to class. Okay? And since you have been given that skill, and you are developing it, you start nurturing it. And it becomes part and parcel of you. Okay? And remember also our teachers came from that background. So you would even aspire to become like your teacher in the ways commanding knowledge. Okay?
So there was a passion to knowledge.
Yes.
There was an appreciation.
Yes. And remember when you went into sciences, there was a teacher's demonstration desk where he demonstrates a practical. And on your desk, where you start doing the practical. Like for us in Namilyanga, I was taking chemistry, I was taking biology, I was taking agriculture, I was taking physics. They all had practical subjects, but my interest was more in the arts. But I had to do them. Okay, so you will find that we had a more broader environment, and that's why we did not disappoint. Okay. Now, to answer your burning question, today, some of the people who pass through such a system, you will find that they are in international schools.
And that's too expensive to afford.
It is too expensive for
everyone. It's unrealistic for a normal Uganda.
Yes, it is unrealistic. And because now you have not been exposed, okay, to know how you grow in stages, to know how you generate income in stages, to know what you start in the field.
That's what the practical aspect requires real tenacity. You're just starting. You are just starting in the village. You will fail.
And you are starting in the village when the supportive foundation has been even distorted and destroyed.
That's why you will fail.
Yes.
The failure is justified.
Yes. And the sort of market you are operating from, you have not even internalized it. Yes, you have gone for that type of business. Who are your anticipated clients? Where is their source of income?
There's no market knowledge, nothing.
Yes. So these are sort of challenges we are having. And these challenges we are having are very serious, okay? For us, when we are being trained, we had even what we call industrial training or internship, okay? And when you are given very good internship and you are flagged off that go and you start working. You are now ready. And even when you are starting working, there were still more opportunities for any service.
Orientation.
In service. Then we also used it to have very effective groups, like organizations. Like in the 60s, there was NUSU, which was for all students who were in school. It could teach about the country, the production, what have you. And then after that, there was what they called the New York. We have completed the school, now meet and be productive. Agriculture,
Is it because you were a few?
Not because we are few, the vision, the philosophy. That's why I said, this thing I need to take you to philosophy, okay? And here you find that what you are having is money put in your hands. Go and do this. Which is different from what I did when I was young. I could grow my crops, sell them, or I could harvest my coffee. So the money I've got, however little it is, I will keep it jealously.
Doctor, we can never exhaust all this in 30 minutes. I think we need to have another one, but it should be a continuation. We should not jump onto something else.
Oh, okay.
We will have another episode, and then we just continue from here. Where do we go from here? But for tonight's episode, what are your parting shots to the youths watching us?
Me, I would encourage the youth to really understand that there are opportunities. But opportunities come for somebody who is prepared for them. And these opportunities, if they are for studies, exploit them and study to maximum. If they are for business, dig in. Okay, and it is better you start with something small and build on it. You start with small capital, build on it. Okay, and when you can start with small capital, build on it, it is easier to administer, it is easier to see success. Right. But you must decide on which one you do. Some of these activities I'm seeing the youth are involved in, they are either oversaturated or they are not sustainable. Yes. They are oversaturated or they are not sustainable. Right. At the same time, I deal with the youth. The youth also, I encourage them to be very calm, to be very thoughtful, okay? And much as they must move with the trends of the time, to keep up with the trends of the time, it should not eat entirely in their savings. Like for me, I prefer to spend on myself with the personal effects when I have seen how the budget is. But a youth will want the latest type of a phone,
the latest car.
The latest car. All those things are very, very difficult to balance when you are having a sort of program you are doing in business. They eat up your capital. And they even eat up your mind. So I would request our youth to be more sober, also to study environments, to study situations, and to really feel that any opportunity which has come may never be got back again. Okay?
All right.
Yes. Any opportunity which may come may never be got again. And they should also see, by the way, most of these successful businessmen, they did not start on these high roads in Kampala. They started from funny places. So the youth also don't be so much focused on businesses within the city center. The businesses within the city center have a lot of overheads. And those overheads cause a lot of problems. Rent, what. But if you can find anywhere you squeeze yourself where those overheads are not there, you are likely to succeed.
All right. That is Doctor. Thank you so much for sparing some time to talk to us. Today we had to arrest you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for talking to us. But that is right there that you have information, wisdom that comes with experience and extensive studying. There's so much that we've had to learn today, but that's what we do here on the desk as we get you solutions for your day-to-day contemporary life. But from me and the entire U24 management, we would like to say good night, good luck, adios for God and my country. May the good Lord bless this beautiful Uganda. Until next week, same place, same time, of course, same host. Good night.